I'm making this video about manifestation because of an experience I had that made me think about something that I'd never really thought of before, and I'm wondering if other people think about this. Hi, I'm Aja. This is The Weather in Space. This is my channel where I talk about the spiritual, the paranormal, my life experiences, and where they all intersect. My manifestation experience happened when I was back in my 20s. I had moved away from home. I moved to New York City, which was kind of cool. I had a part-time job, but then I got another one because I wanted, more income. But I wanted to do something fun, so I worked at an ice cream shop. Everything about that job was like pretty cool, like it's ice cream, it's no stress. There was just one thing that I hated about the job, which was when the ice cream first came out of the freezer because it was rock hard and I hated trying to scoop that ice cream. It didn't happen too often, but when that ice cream did first come out of the freezer, like it would take me so long to scoop it and the people in line would like be getting impatient with me. There was one girl who even like called me slow or stupid because it was taking me too long to get her ice cream to her. So everything about that job was cool except for scooping hard ice cream. And I had a nightmare about it. I didn't have the nightmare until I moved back home. And I think the nightmare happened because I was experiencing something else at home that was frustrating me in the same way that like that hard ice cream did. So the nightmare was I'm back in the ice cream shop and there's a long line of people and all the ice cream is hard. And I'm just sitting there getting so frustrated, probably on the verge of tears, trying to scoop all of this hard ice cream and like everybody's like so impatient and everybody's getting mad at me. So I just become so frustrated that I just take my scoop and toss it and I'm just like, I'm not doing this. I hate it. And I'm just standing there with my arms folded and everyone's looking at me like, what is she doing? Maybe because I knew it was a dream. I don't know. But at one point, I'm like thinking about all of this like instant manifestation that all these spiritual teachers are talking about. And I'm like, what do I have to lose? Let me just try that. Let me try some of this instant manifestation stuff. And in the dream, I didn't try to do anything in particular. It just happened. I just said like, I want this ice cream scooped and in a cup and in my hand right now. And it did. It appeared in my hand. And I was like, oh my God, that actually worked. And I was like, let me try that again. So I took the next customer and I just imagined like the ice cream's done. And there it was in my hand. And now I'm like, oh, wow. And then what started as a nightmare kind of like turned into like a celebration. It was like a party because, like I'm doing this. First of all, I made it work and all the customers are happy. Everybody has what they want. It's like a big party. And then I think it was like maybe like a few days after the dream, I started thinking like, well, the thing that happened in my dream, what if I try that like in real life and see if I can manifest something? I thought if I used the method that I used in my dream or like the method that just kind of like happened in my dream, then maybe I could manifest in real life. And I'm going to share that method with you right now. So what happened in my dream is like I opened my hand and I kind of made the ice cream be there. I'm thinking about the best way to describe it, and it was kind of like I put the ice cream there. So I have this deck of cards in this room. So if I wanted to manifest that deck of cards, I would hold out my hand and I would like put it in my hand. Like it wasn't like a wish, and I don't feel like I willed it to be in my hand. It's just kind of like I put it there. And I think putting it there kind of says, well, it already exists. And since I know it already exists, I'm going to have it. It's going to be here, something like that. And the other thing that happened was there was this feeling or this energy that kind of came from my chest to the ice cream, and it was kind of like helping the ice cream to manifest. I don't know why it came from my chest because isn't it your solar plexus chakra or energy center that's in charge of like your will and your personal power? But I don't know, this one came from like my chest, from like the heart chakra. So that's what I did. I kind of used this technique in real life and I was just playing around with it. I think the first thing I did was there was something I had ordered and I was waiting for it to be delivered. Like I was so excited about it and I was like, oh, I can't wait. I want it to be here right now. So I was like, why don't I try that technique? So I did, like I pictured the item being in my house and it's, once again, it's like I put it there because it already exists and now it's going to be in my house. And I let that feeling come from my chest, or maybe I made that feeling come from my chest. What did it feel like? I don't know. It did kind of feel like a loving completion kind of feeling. So maybe that's why it came from like my heart chakra. But yeah, it was like this feeling of like completion that came from my chest towards where I was visualizing the object. And then when I felt like I had done enough, I said, okay. And sure enough, it was either that day or the next day when the item arrived. And I'm kind of like, oh, yay, I did it. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh, it's coincidence. It was fun at this point. And the next time I did it, I remember this pretty clearly. It was like I was waiting for the bus. And it was at a time of day when, like, it could either take 5 minutes or 30 minutes for the bus to come. And I didn't feel like waiting. So, I did the technique, I kind of like put the bus at the bus stop and I let that feeling come from my chest, or I made the feeling come from my chest, like a feeling of completion, like a bit of feeling of kind of like love or celebration, maybe in a way like, yay, it's done. And then when I felt like I had done enough, I was like, okay. And then sure enough, after a couple of minutes, here comes the bus around the corner. And, it was fun. And once again, I'm kind of like, coincidence, but it's fun. It's fun. And the third time I did it, I can't remember what it was. And I think I know why I can't remember what it was. And I talk about that later in the video. But the third time I did it, I, put it there. I felt the feeling come from my chest. And when it actually manifested, it scared me because this time it was much too specific. It wasn't just, like coincidence anymore. There were like too many moving parts and too many things that would have had to have lined up for it to be coincidence. And that was eerie to me. And because I got so scared, like I stopped doing it. And I can imagine you listening or me telling this to somebody saying like, what? You actually found like a technique to instantly manifest and you stopped doing it? Why would you ever do that? And to that, I'll say this. If you see something that your mind and society has told you ever since you were born doesn't exist or can't happen, but you see it and it's happening, that's kind of scary. So imagine you're walking through the woods and you see a bobcat or a bear. You're scared, but you're scared because you know that this thing can cause you physical harm. And now you're like, well, now I have to get myself out of harm's way. But now imagine you're walking through the forest and you see like a freaking unicorn, or you see like a little family of gnomes like marching in front of you. You're gonna get scared, but it's for a different reason. You're scared because your mind can't really make sense of what's going on. It's kind of like why we're scared of ghosts. Like ghosts are dead people and they have no body. So what's there to be afraid of? But we're still afraid of ghosts because we don't understand them. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they want. Not to mention, if you wish for something and then it appears, that means somebody's listening. Somebody that you can't see and that you can't hear, but they can apparently see and hear you. That's eerie. And the other reason I stopped doing it is because, and I had to take the time to think about this really hard, was because I didn't think I deserved for something like that to happen to me. Some monk or some nun that's dedicated their life to spirituality and they've been meditating for like 20 years, something like that. If it happened to them, sure. But me? No. The way I was raised, I got the impression, whether it was overtly or covertly, that I wasn't that special and there were certain things in life that I didn't deserve. Like some things were too special for me. My mother was actually really good at sending that message, but of course, like school and high school, perfect for that too. Like I felt like people were telling me that like, this is life and this is as far as I'll go. This is my ceiling because this I'm worthy of. But all of this, no, that's for like other people. Whether it was because, like I was a girl and people like, girls can or shouldn't do that, or if it's because I was black and people like black people can't do whatever, like the message was still there. It was still pretty loud and still pretty clear. And also maybe not even because of my demographic. I also got the feeling that some people were saying, look, Aja, you're only going to get to about here and we're going to make sure you only get to about here because I never got above that. So why should you? So obviously I'm older now. I'm like more developed. I've had more experiences. I'm farther along on my spiritual journey. And like I've actually had more obstacles to overcome. There are a lot of times when people told me that some such and such can't be done or, there's no way to do that. But I still find a way to do that. Or if it's not me, then it's somebody else. So I have a different perspective now. And obviously, I've worked on my self-esteem. So I should really like try it again. I should totally try it again and then like, update you like on my vlog, like how that's going. But at this point, I just want to say, obviously belief that it can happen. Instant manifestation. First, you have to believe that it's possible, right? But then there's the second part, which is believing that you deserve it. Because that's an obstacle that's taken me like 20 years to overcome. Actually, I haven't even overcome it. I'm still working on it. I've progressed, but I'm still working on it. So yeah, I'll definitely try it again. I feel like I have to work on my courage, but I'll definitely try it again. Make more videos on how that's going. If I feel like I've stumbled across any important information, I'll share it. I'm back in the ice cream shop and there's a long line of people and all the ice cream is hard. And it's just taking me like too long to scoop this ice cream. My cat doesn't like my story and he's leaving. Are you leaving, Mr. A? You probably wanted to cuddle, huh?